Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States and the President of Romania.
Thank you very much. President Iohannis, thank you for being here. It's an honor to welcome such a good friend of America to the White House. As you know, the people of Romania and America share much in common. A love of freedom, proud cultures, rich traditions, and a vast and storied landscape to call home. The relationship between our two countries stretches back well over a century, but today we especially reaffirm and celebrate our strategic partnership that began more than 20 years ago. That partnership covers many dimensions, including economic, military, and cultural ties, and today we are making those ties even stronger. Mr. President, your visit comes at an important moment, not just in this partnership, but among all of the responsible nations of the world. I have just returned from a historic trip to Europe and the Middle East, where I worked to strengthen our alliances, forge new friendships, and unite all civilized peoples in the fight against terrorism. No civilized nation can tolerate this violence or allow this wicked ideology to spread on its shores. I addressed a summit of more than 50 Arab and Muslim leaders, a unique meeting in the history of nations, where key players in the region agreed to stop supporting terrorism, whether it be financial, military, or even moral support. The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level. And in the wake of that conference, nations came together and spoke to me about confronting Qatar over its behavior. So we had a decision to make. Do we take the easy road, or do we finally take a hard but necessary action? We have to stop the funding of terrorism. I decided, along with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, our great generals and military people, the time had come to call on Qatar to end its funding. They have to end that funding and its extremist ideology in terms of funding. I want to call on all of the nations to stop immediately supporting terrorism. Stop teaching people to kill other people. Stop filling their minds with hate and intolerance. I won't name other countries, but we are not done solving the problem, but we will solve that problem. Have no choice. This is my great priority because it is my first duty as president to keep our people safe. Defeating ISIS and other terror organizations is something I have emphasized all during my campaign and right up until the present. To do that, stop funding, stop teaching hate, and stop the killing. For Qatar, we want you back among the unity of responsible nations. We ask Qatar and other nations in the region to do more and do it faster. I want to thank Saudi Arabia and my friend King Salman and all of the countries who participated in that very historic summit. It was truly historic. There has never been anything like it before, and perhaps there never will be again. Hopefully, it will be the beginning of the end of funding terrorism. It will therefore be the beginning of the end to terrorism. No more funding. I also want to thank the Romanian people for everything they contribute to our common defense and to the fight against the evil menace of terrorism. They have their own difficulties with it, and they've come a long way, and they're doing a lot. Romania has been a valuable member of the coalition to defeat ISIS, and it's the fourth largest contributor of troops in Afghanistan. There, 23 of your citizens have paid the ultimate price, and America honors their sacrifice. I want to recognize President Iohannis for his leadership in committing Romania this year to increase its defense spending from 1.4% of GDP to over 2%. We hope our other NATO allies will follow Romania's lead on meeting their financial obligations and paying their fair share for the cost of defense. But I will say this, that because of our actions, money is starting to pour in to NATO. The money is starting to pour in. Other countries are starting to realize that it's time to pay up, and they're doing that. Very proud of that fact. As you know, I have been an advocate for strengthening our NATO alliance through greater responsibility and burden sharing among member nations. And that is what is happening. Because together we can confront the common security challenges facing the world. Mr. President, I want to applaud your courage and your courageous efforts in Romania to fight corruption and defend the rule of law. This work is necessary to create an environment where trade and commerce can flourish and where citizens can prosper. I look forward to working with you to deepen the ties of both commerce and culture between our two countries. Romanians have made contributions to the United States and to the world. Very notable among them was Nobel Prize laureate Elie Wiesel, who was born in Romania and sadly passed away almost 1 year ago. And I understand that earlier this week, the American Jewish Committee presented President Iohannis with its very prestigious Light Unto the Nations Award for his work to further Holocaust remembrance and education in Romania. I join the AJC in saluting your leadership in this vital cause. The people of Romania have endured many, many hardships, but they have made a truly remarkable historical journey. The future of Romania and Romania's relationship with the United States is very, very bright. President Iohannis, I thank you for your leadership, and I thank you again for being here today. I look forward to strengthening our alliance with your country and our bonds with your people. The relationship has been good, but now it's stronger than ever. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, thank you so much. Thank you so much. President Trump, thank you so much for the words you found for Romania, for the Romanian people, and for me. Thank you very much for the invitation to be here today with you, and thank you so much for arranging this nice weather in this place. Mr. President, I'm very glad that we had such a good meeting, and This is due to your strong leadership, and this is also due to our strong partnership. Obviously, the fact that we celebrate 20 years of strategic partnership this year is important for both our nations, and it is important to know, and this is what I want to underline, that this partnership with the United States of America shaped Romania as it is today. Romania, a solid democracy with a solid, sustainable economic growth. Romania, which stands together with the US troops in Afghanistan. We stand together in Iraq. Mr. President, this partnership contributed greatly to what Romania is today. And this partnership was and is very important. And I think this partnership not only has to continue, this partnership has to become stronger. This partnership has to define our bilateral relation, and this partnership has to contribute to solve so many problems. President Trump, you mentioned terrorism. I'm very glad that due to your strong leadership, NATO decided to go against terrorism. Your involvement made so many nations conscious of the fact that we have to share the burden inside NATO. And this is why Romania also decided, and if I'm right, I think this is the first country during your mandate to step up to 2% of GDP for defense spending. A significant part of this defense spending is going into strategic acquisitions, and I hope, President Trump, that we find good ways together to make good use of this money. Romania is very conscious of the fact that we stand on the eastern flank, and we heavily rely on your partnership, President Trump, because we cannot stand there without the US. We cannot stand there alone. On the other hand, our partnership has a huge opportunity to step up not only in security matters, but also in commercial and economic matters. And this is very important. Romania is a member of the European Union, and I think it's the best interest of you, Mr. President, to have a strong European Union as a partner. This is vital for all of us. Our relationship, the transatlantic link, is vital. Transatlantic link is not about diplomacy, about policy. It's at the basis of our Western civilization, and together we will make it stronger, together we will make it better. NATO and the European Union do not have to compete against each other. They have to work together. They have to work in such a manner as to produce synergetic effects, make NATO stronger, make Europe stronger, make the United States of America stronger. And this is what we decided, President Trump and I, to make our partnership stronger, better, more enduring. And this will lead very soon to an enhanced economic exchange, to better commerce. And this is what we all decide and what we wish, because we are responsible, President Trump and I, not only for the security, we are responsible for the well-being of our citizens, and this is what we are decided to do. Thank you so much, President Trump.
Thank you. Dave Boyer, Washington Times, please. Dave?
Thank you.
Come on, Dave. Gotta
Thank
get
you,
going
Mr.
here, Dave.
President. Apologies.
That's all right, Dave.
Mr. President, this morning on Twitter, you were referring to the testimony of James Comey vindicating you. But I wondered if you could tell us in person, sir, why you feel that his testimony vindicated you when it's really boils down to his word against your word. And if you could also tell us, sir, do tapes exist of your conversations
Yeah.
with him?
Well, I'll tell you about that maybe sometime in the very near future. But in the meantime, no collusion, no obstruction. He's a leaker. But we want to get back to running our great country. Jobs, trade deficits, we want them to disappear fast. North Korea, big problem. Middle East, a big problem. So that's what I am focused on. That's what I have been focused on. But yesterday showed no collusion, no obstruction. We are doing really well. That was an excuse by the Democrats who lost an election that some people think they shouldn't have lost, because it's almost impossible for the Democrats to lose the Electoral College, as you know. You have to run up the whole East Coast and you have to win everything as a Republican, and that's just what we did. So it was just an excuse. But we were very, very happy. And frankly, James Comey confirmed a lot of what I said. And some of the things that he said just weren't true. Thank you very much. Do you have a question?
Thank you. And Mr. President, if you could tell us, a couple of weeks ago, President Trump was in Brussels at the NATO meeting, and not only was he encouraging NATO members to pay up the 2% required of GDP for national defense, but he also was saying that countries, even including yours, who had not paid 2% in the past, should make up for that difference. Do you think that's fair?
I was in Brussels and I met President Trump and I listened to his speech and I liked it. Because you see, NATO is based on values, but it is ultimately a military alliance. And you know, military spendings are complicated and you need a lot of money, because NATO is the strongest alliance the earth ever saw, and we want to keep it that way. So we have to spend money for defense purposes. And spending money means if you're in alliance, everybody has to spend money. This is called burden sharing. And I fully agree, Mr. President, to that. So of course, some people liked this better and some didn't like it so much, but it's a simple fact that we have to do this, not as a purpose in itself. We have to do this to stay strong, to be strong, and to defend our nations.
100% correct. And you know, one of the things I was referring to during that speech was the fact that yes, they haven't paid what they should be paying now, but for many years they haven't been paying. So I said, do we ever go back and say, how about paying the money from many, many years past? Now, I know no president has ever asked that question, but I do. We're going to make NATO very strong. You need the money to make it strong. You can't just do what we've been doing in the past. So I did say, yes, you haven't paid this year, but what about the past years, the many past years where you haven't paid? Perhaps you should pay some or all of that money back. You have a question?
Domnișoara Avramescu, TVR.
Thank you. I have a question for President Trump. On the matter of security, sir, you Many of the countries on the eastern flank of NATO, including Romania, see Russia as a threat to the security and the peace in the region. Do you share this vision, and do you think that United States should act under Article 5 if any of these countries will be under military aggression? Thank you very much.
Well, I'm committing the United States, and have committed, but I'm committing the United States to Article 5. And certainly we are there to protect. And that's one of the reasons that I want people to make sure we have a very, very strong force by paying the kind of money necessary to have that force. But yes, absolutely, I'd be committed to Article 5.
Thank you, Mr. President. Were there any discussion about the visa waiver program for Romania? Is there a time frame for including our country in this program? Thank you.
We didn't discuss it. We didn't discuss it, but there would be certainly, it would be something we will discuss, Mr. President.
I mentioned this issue, and I also mentioned it during other meetings I had, because this is important for us, it's important for Romanians who want to come to the United States. And you see, more and more people come, President Trump, from Romania to the United States. Some come as tourists, some come for business, and those who come for business should be encouraged. So the matter of visa waiver would be probably important to discuss, and we all hope that we will advance on this.
Good. Oh, I look at those hands up there, President. Do you have this in Romania too? I don't know.
Yeah, I got the microphone.
Oh, boy.
If you allow me,
If
Mr.
I could
President.
if I could only sell that. If I could only sell it. Who would like to ask? Should I take one of the killer networks that treat me so badly as fake news? Should I do that? Huh? Go ahead, John. Be fair, John.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember how nice you used to be before I ran? Such a nice man.
Always fair. Mr. President, I want to get back to James Comey's testimony. You suggested he didn't tell the truth in everything he said. He did say under oath that you told him to let the Flynn, you said you hoped the Flynn investigation, you could
I didn't say that.
So he lied about that.
Well, I didn't say that. I mean, I will tell you, I didn't say that.
And did he ask you to pledge his
And there'd be
loyalty?
nothing wrong if I did say it, according to everybody that I've read today, but I did not say that.
And did he ask for a pledge of loyalty from you? That's another thing he said.
No, he did not.
So he said those things under oath. Would you be willing to speak under oath to give your version of those events?
100%. I
And-
didn't say under oath. I hardly know the man. I'm not going to say, I want you to pledge allegiance. Who would do that? Who would ask a man to pledge allegiance under oath? I mean, think of it. I hardly know the man. It doesn't make sense. No, I didn't say that, and I didn't say the other.
So if Robert Mueller wanted to speak with you about that, you
I would be
willing
glad
talk
to
him?
tell him exactly what I just told you, John.
And you seem to be hinting that there are recordings of those conversations.
I'm not hinting anything. I'll tell you about it over a very short period of time. Okay? Okay. Do you have a question here?
When will you tell us about the
Over a
recordings?
fairly short period of time.
Are there tapes, sir?
Oh, you're going to be very disappointed when you hear the answer. Don't worry. John, do you have a question for the president?
Yes. Thank you. And President Iohannis, you are no stranger to Russian aggression. Vladimir Putin recently suggested that Romania could be in Russia's crosshairs. How concerned should the world be about Russian aggression in your region, and how concerned should we be here in the United States about what Russia tried to do in our election, sir?
Everybody's concerned, but you see, being concerned should lead you to being prepared. So in my opinion, we have to be very clear, very simple, and very straightforward if we talk about Russia and with Russia. In my opinion, we need dialogue. But on the other hand, we need what we all together decided in NATO, a strong deterrence. So this combination, strong deterrence and dialogue, should lead towards a solution which is feasible for every part. Domnul Pantazi.
Hello, Mr. President Trump. You mentioned earlier the anti-corruption fight in Romania. It is a matter of high importance in our country. But we see now that the anti-corruption fight and the efforts to consolidate the rule of law are sometimes undermined by some politicians, part of what we can call the Bucharest swamp. Is your administration going to support the anti-corruption fight in Romania, and how can you do it? Thank you.
Well, we support very strongly Romania, and therefore, obviously, we do support that fight on anti-corruption. We will always support that, and we support your president. We think he's done an outstanding job, very popular, very solid, working very hard. We know everything that's going on, and and he's going to win that fight. He's going to win that battle, but he has our support.
Thank you so much.
Do you see the corruption in Romania as a problem for the US-Romania partnership and for the American investor as a threat, because we still have corruption in Romania despite this anti-corruption fight?
Well, you do, but I can tell you that there are many American investors right now going to Romania and investing. In fact, I was given a chart just before our meeting, and we have people going over to Romania and investing, and they weren't doing that a number of years ago. So that shows very, very big progress, and there really are a lot of congratulations in store. But a lot of people are investing from our country to yours, and people love from Romania the United States, and they come here a lot, and we're very proud of them. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. Wow, lots to talk about. This is, oops, you know what? I'll just fix, this is the post show for the President Trump press conference. And let me actually fix, it says they're awaiting Trump press conference. We don't want it to say that. So let me just fix that. I am Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. And there we go. Press conference post show. Sorry, guys. Actually, let me just make that disappear. I thought, it's just me at home today, so I thought I'd fix this before. And this is the post show. Oh, this is a comedy of errors. Fixed it. Done. Hey, let's talk about what President Trump said. That was pretty crazy, that press conference. You know, a lot of news. Some of those press conferences, you don't get that much news out of it, but there was so much actual news in that press conference. So we want to talk about it right now. I am Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting, and we're going to take your comments and questions. So let's go over some of the stuff that President Trump said. He said he never asked Comey to halt the investigation into Michael Flynn. He said he never asked Comey to give him his loyalty. He said, President Trump, he would be 100% willing to testify under oath about his Comey conversations. Those are all big things. Oh, he said he won't answer the question now about whether there are tapes, but he said he may answer it soon. He said you're going to be very disappointed. I think you're going to be very disappointed in the answer. So that's like 4 different important pieces of news. And let me say this. This is so crazy. There was actually a very important thing, and I don't give myself credit that much, but I'll give myself credit here. What did I say in the pre-show? I said, maybe today is when President Trump explicitly commits to Article 5 of NATO because he's speaking with Romanian president and Romania is in NATO. And what happened? President Trump explicitly committed to Article 5 of NATO. He said, I am committed to Article 5. Those are the exact words that all these people wanted him to say at the NATO summit and that he didn't say. And so many people have been wringing their hands about it and saying he should have said it and saying he's not committed to NATO. Well, he said it. He said it loud and clear today. He said, I am committed to Article 5 of NATO. That's the article which says an attack on one member is considered an attack on all the members, and all the members will help the one member that's attacked. So But it's funny to me. It's like I'm guessing all the media coverage of this, like they're not even paying attention to the fact that he did. It's really important that he committed to Article 5 of NATO. But wow, so much went on. All right, I want to get your comments about what went on today about President Trump saying he didn't. I mean, he basically said Comey lied under oath. Because he said he didn't ask Comey to stop the Russia investigation to Michael Flynn. He didn't ask for Comey's loyalty. And remember, he also said that he might say soon whether there are tapes, and you're going to be disappointed in the answer, which would imply there aren't tapes. And what's the last thing I said? I'm forgetting all the news he made. Oh, and he'd be 100% willing to, under oath, testify. Because I've heard some people say, well, President Trump is saying now, oh, James Comey lied, but he'd never testify about that under oath, because then if he did, we'd have two people under oath saying different things. But President Trump, it surprised me. I didn't think he'd say that today. I didn't think he'd say, I will 100% testify under oath about Comey, the Comey conversations. Now, he hasn't done it yet, but he's committed to doing it. All right, so I would love to know what you think. And by the way, we are viewer supported here at Right Side Broadcasting. So if you enjoy having our coverage and having an alternative to the mainstream media to go for your news, please consider donating, because your donations keep us on the air. If you'd like to donate, very easy to do. Go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Or if you're watching on YouTube, it's even easier. There's a chat room next to the broadcast. If you go to the bottom of the chat room, there's a $sign. You can click on that $sign and make a donation. All donations are welcome. They all keep us on the air, and we just use them to stay on the air and cover more stuff and give you an alternative to the mainstream media. Okay, I want to get your comments. If you want to write to me on Twitter. I'm at @Lookner, @LOOKNER, or email me, steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. I'm going to see if any of you have written me yet. Let's see. So in response, I tweeted that President Trump said he'd be 100% willing to testify under oath about the conversations with Comey. And Debbie Karekis said, I bet they don't want him to. Ha! Let's see. Just MAGA me up fam said, who boy are you, in response to President Trump saying he'd testify under oath. He said, who boy are you lib blanks ready to get destroyed one more time? This is the last thread they're clinging to for impeachment. That was from Just MAGA Me Up Fam. Based Kofefe responded to that news, my tweeting out that President Trump said he'd be willing to testify by saying, and there it is. Let's see. Shane Finch replied to my tweet by saying his word against Comey's word, and he'll be able to point out Comey's misremembering under oath. Let's see. Gypsy says he's not hinting about anything. He has tapes. So Gypsy thinks he has tapes. Let's see if there's some more comments coming in here. Deplorable James B says, Trump says he'll say under oath Comey lied about him and tapes are coming. Thoughts? Now look, I thought President Trump was implying in the press conference he doesn't have tapes, because he said, I may tell you very soon whether I have tapes, and I think you're going to be disappointed. And that to me suggests he's saying I don't have tapes, because people would be disappointed, I think, if there weren't tapes. That's how I read it. Now maybe I'm wrong about that. Let's see. Bless These Beats says, Steve, two things. Take notes, brother. Oh, and you have a blue screen in your house? MAGA. Yeah, I do. I have a green screen in my house. So just so you know, the preferable way of doing this obviously would be, normally what I do when I'm in the office is when the press conference is on, I do take notes. The problem is I'm at home today and I'm producing everything, and so I'm getting the press conference on the air in addition to doing this, and I don't have the time to take notes as they happen, because then it would just mess everything up. So unfortunately today I have to rely on my memory about what was said, but I watched it, so that's why you're not getting exact quotes. Trump 2020 says, you'll be disappointed about the tapes equals the tapes have nothing, or you aren't going to like what they show. That's interesting. All right, so another way you could interpret is you'll be disappointed is, as Trump 2020 says, you're going to be disappointed about what's on the tapes. I was reading him as saying, you'll be disappointed because there aren't any tapes. So I guess there are two plausible ways of reading "You'll be disappointed." That's a good point, Trump 2020. Cat King says, "I'm so proud of President Trump." Ronnie Mercer says, "Steve, do you think the false narrative of Trump colluding with the Russians will subside after Comey's testimony? If so, what's next?" I don't think it'll subside. I just feel like, so to me, so many people are committed to this narrative that Trump colluded with the Russians on the election when there's no evidence to it, that having more cases of no evidence isn't going to convince those people it didn't happen, because there already is no evidence that I've seen about it. Now, look, if somebody presents me with evidence that it happened, I will believe it. I'm not going to deny it. I'm just saying it seems like a lot of people who believe that and are committed to that believe it in spite of the lack of evidence. So I don't think it's going away anytime soon. Deirdre Ann O'Gorman writes, "When he says you will be disappointed with the answer about tapes, does he mean they'll be disappointed or all of us will be?" So she has more questions about, like, I guess, how you interpret that remark. Lots of energy going into people trying to interpret that remark when President Trump said you'll be disappointed. Gab I. Lakim says, "Comey is toast. The Democrats are toast. 2017, the year the establishment lied their way to death." So this is Right Side Broadcasting. This is the post show. I did manage to get that lower third up there. By the way, I tried to fix it during the press conference, and I thought I'd fixed it, so I didn't forget about it, but it went wrong. But it does say post show now, and so we're covering the post show. We're covering the press conference that President Trump just had, a very newsworthy press conference with the president of Romania. Gave us a lot to talk about, and we're taking your comments and your questions. If you want to write in, I'm happy to read your comment on the air. My Twitter is @Lookner, @LOOKNER. Feel free to follow me as well if you'd like. I cover a lot of breaking news. You can also follow Right Side Broadcasting at @RSB Network. But you can also email me, steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. And I was just going to say, we got a donation from Dennis Stamatuo. I think it's Stamatuo. And he says, "Thank you for all the coverage for the past couple of days and in the past. Keep up the work." That's very nice, Dennis. Thank you so much for the donation. And I will mention again, we are viewer supported. Your donations keep us on the air. Your donations are what we use to stay on the air, or what we use to fund ourselves. So if you like having an option to go to Right Side for your coverage and not have to go to the mainstream media, hope you consider donating to us. If you want to donate, it's very easy. rsbn.tv/donate. rsbn.tv/donate, or go to the YouTube broadcast, and there's a chat room next to the broadcast. Just go to the bottom of the chat room, click on the $sign there, and you can donate that way. Speaking of the chat room, thank you to the moderators for moderating the chat today, and also moderating the chat on the webpage at rsbn.tv. Let's take some more of your comments. I want to see what you have to say about this press conference today. America First says, "Do you think President Trump will be able to prove Comey lied under oath, since he's pretty much implying he has tapes of their conversation?" Well, the only way he could prove Comey lied under oath is probably to have tapes, but I think it's questionable whether he has tapes. As I said before, I took him as saying he doesn't have tapes, but people disagree on this. Also, America First says, "I took President Trump as saying they'll be disappointed when they find out if he has tapes, as they'll be disappointed with what's on the tapes." Okay, and I know a bunch of you think that too. So I understand that's another way of interpreting it. So who knows which is right. Sightless Seer says, "Need to borrow someone else's notes for class when you produce from home?" Well, it happens very fast, Sightless Seer. So I don't mind not having notes if I just watch the press conference right before. I think I can give a pretty accurate interpretation. If anybody wants the exact quote, I can always look it up on Twitter or something. So let's see here. JC says, "I think the president was speaking to the reporters when he said they will be disappointed, as in he has tapes and the info on it will destroy the mainstream media. Fake news, RSBN rocks, RSBN Mod Squad." Thanks, JC. JC, one of our great moderators in the chat room. Working hard to keep that chat room a good place for everybody to share their ideas and troll free. Emergency Contact says, "Maybe the tapes are recordings that Obama illegally did. Wouldn't that be something?" Now, I don't know if he would have Obama tapes. How would he get those? That Obama just accidentally left them there? But Emergency Contact? Maybe you're right, who knows? But I would see that as highly unlikely. Let's see here. I see some more comments. By the way, as I said before, it's just me here right now, so if there is some kind of technical issue, feel free to write me on Twitter and say, hey, we can't hear you, or we're hearing double, or something like that. Some more comments here. David Pope says, just like he said he'd release his taxes until he said he wouldn't. So David Pope, you think he's not going to release the tapes. Now, I will say though, David, I'm sorry. David Pope was responding to me on Twitter about my comment when I said Trump says he'll be 100% willing to testify under oath about conversations with Comey. David Pope isn't convinced that he will. And we'll see if he does. Now, he hasn't been asked to testify yet. We don't even know if he'll be asked to testify by Robert Mueller. We'll see. One of We the People says, is it possible that Comey has recordings? I don't, of course I can't tell 100%. I would think if Comey had recordings, he would say that or release them, since he did release his memo. I mean, his memo in a sense is a recording in some sense of the conversation. It's not like an actual sound recording. I would think if Comey had recordings, since he already leaked the memo, he would have leaked the recordings or said he had them. Maritza Minassian says, I think he meant there are no tapes, but I could be wrong. Stephen Papp says, what does it mean that Trump is committing the United States to Article 5? So Article 5 of the NATO agreement says, an attack on any one member of NATO is considered an attack on all the members. And basically, if any member of NATO is attacked, all the other members will help defend that nation. And some people were very upset with President Trump because he didn't explicitly say, I'm committed to Article 5 at the NATO summit. And also, there were reports out that might have been part of the original speech he had received, that had been was to mention Article 5. There was a story out that claimed President Trump had taken it out at the last minute. And people have been worried. Some people have been worried about that. But today, as was speculated about on the pre-show of this broadcast, he did say, I am committed to Article 5. So now hopefully people don't... hold on. I think you have to refresh your browser if the video froze. Let me see. Yes. If the video froze, by the way, for you, refresh your browser. I'm typing that in the chat room now. If video froze, refresh your browser. Because I actually had the video open here on YouTube just so I can make sure the stream is right. And mine had froze, but it was not on this end. It was the browsers sometimes do that. So apologies if your video froze. So let's see here. I'm going back to your comments. We But Mighty, in response to my tweet that said Trump says he's 100% willing to testify under oath about conversations with Comey, We But Mighty said, hot damn. Again, apologies if your feed is spinning. You have to reset the browser. I don't know why that is. It's very odd, but the feed should be working fine if you refresh your browser. Let's see here. Let's get some more comments from you guys. Ooh, and I have to check my email. I forgot to check those. Let me check and see if you have sent me emails. I don't mean to be ignoring you on email. P-Cell writes in, let the president's lawyer do his legal talking and let the president continue doing what he loves doing, working, making deals, and keeping the country safe. I thought yesterday, after the former FBI director testimony, this event gives the Trump administration, the president himself, a new platform and a new approach and new moving forward. Hours later, the decision of the president was brought forth by his lawyer, which had to do with a legal approach concerning Comey. I think this is a brilliant approach, not having the president himself handling such things. Let his lawyers do these things and let the president continue doing what he loves doing, working for the American people. This way, he doesn't have to work and fight the media's attack. If the media want to attack his lawyers, well, let them go ahead and dig themselves a hole. It is one thing to attack a president. It is a whole different ballgame to take cheap shots as a lawyer. Now, P-Cell, given that you said that, I'm wondering if you're disappointed with the press conference, because President Trump in the press conference today did say things about James Comey. So it sounded to me like you wanted him to leave that to his lawyer. Amanda Maccabee writes in, hey Steve, I love your show and you're doing an amazing job and thanks for bringing that live. But in my opinion, those reporters were stupid. God bless you, MAGA. Thank you, Amanda, for writing in. The Walkers write in, how soon we forget President Obama is the one I saw some evidence of having collusion with Putin, the left is accusing President Trump of what Obama was actually doing. That's from the Walkers. You know, another one thing I want to quickly mention about the press conference, and this is getting lost in all of the stuff about Comey, which is important statements that President Trump said. But another thing that happened is Secretary of State Tillerson earlier today gave a statement when he said, basically, hey, we disapprove of Qatar giving money to terrorism, but we really want this blockade to be of Qatar by other Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries like Egypt. We want to have that blockade to be stopped. So we want these countries to work it out with Qatar. And then the president came out during his press conference and made a very strong statement against Qatar's support of terrorism, and several times said like they shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be funding terrorism. So some commentators I've seen have thought that those were two different approaches toward Qatar, and that Tillerson's was more conciliatory, whereas President Trump's was more negative toward Qatar. Now, some commentators think that's a problem. They think it's inconsistent foreign policy. One thing I sometimes wonder about with President Trump is, does he like having some vagueness? Does he like having some good cop, bad cop to his foreign policy? It could be intentional. I don't know. Some other people might say, hey, there's no inconsistency because Tillerson did say they should stop funding terrorism. It's just President Trump's language seemed much more strong than Secretary of State Tillerson's, and also President Trump did not mention, "Hey, we should have this blockade stop." So, just something people have been talking about. Let's go back to your messages here. Deplorable VFL says maybe he had the meeting videotaped. He has something. He's always 4 steps ahead. So you're talking about President Trump here. Thanks, Deplorable VFL, for writing in. Sightless Seer says, perhaps if they do discuss NATO security arrangements, negotiate the burden being redistributed by our military contributions to their contacts back to Romania, through them buying weapons against the imposing security threats imposed by the flow of immigrants and geopolitical conflicts of the region with Russia from us, rather than the financial burden being placed on our people, that their percentage of security is bought from us to turn a problem into an opportunity, does seem a possibility, measuring both of their statements of entangling economic benefiting with military funding obligations. So you do seem concerned, Sightless Seer, with the fact that the claim that U.S. is paying more than its fair share for NATO support. And President Trump has said he wants all the countries of NATO to meet the 2% of their, I believe, GNP that they're supposed to be spending on their military budgets in order to be a member of NATO. Let's see. Okay, we're going to be on for a few more minutes here. This is the post show for the President Trump press conference. Lots of news made in this press conference. Would like to know if you have any comments on this. We've been taking your comments and your questions and your thoughts on the press conference. Reach out to me at Lookner, at Lookner, or email me, steve.lookner@rsbn.tv. By the way, it's Friday today, so does that mean I want to make sure here, I want to check this out. I'm wondering if Nick Fuentes is on today. Let me see. Maybe Nick isn't on today. He was on, maybe he's taking a day off. He was on Wednesday and Monday, so I'm not sure about this. I am not sure about this. If I hear Nick is on, I'll let you know. So, and then what else? And just to recap some of the things President Trump said today, to recap in case you're tuning into the post show late, he said he's 100% willing to testify about his conversations with Comey. He said, I never asked Comey for his loyalty. He said, I never tried to get I never told James Comey to stop investigating General Flynn. Now, and when President Trump says that, President Trump, that's consistent with President Trump saying, I hope you can let the General Flynn thing drop, because maybe President Trump sees that as just expressing a wish and not asking. What President Trump explicitly said today is, I did not ask James Comey to stop the investigation into General Flynn. And James Comey, that's how he interpreted President Trump's remarks. So, the disagreement between them on that might not be what President Trump actually said. It's how to interpret it. And President Trump also said, he said something else. There were 4 things I said. Now I can't remember. Just about the Comey stuff. Oh, he said Comey. What did he say? Oh, he said you'll be he wouldn't say today whether there are tapes, but he said he might say that soon. He said, I think you're going to be disappointed in my answer, which we've had different interpretations of. I took him as saying you're going to be disappointed because there are no tapes, but some other people said, some of you think he was saying you're going to be disappointed because what's on the tape shows that I'm right and Comey's wrong, and you're going to be disappointed about that. So don't know how to interpret him there. And let me just look real quick. And I just want to see, when we're on the air for a little bit here, I just want to see if there's any more like news that just came out in the few minutes after the press conference. But I think, okay, I think we're good there. And let me just check my email and make sure I'm not skipping any of your emails. Okay, so I think we're going to end the stream pretty soon, but I'll give you a last chance. Anybody who wants to write in any more comments on the press conference today, give me a shout on Twitter or on my email. The information's on the screen. And by the way, I would encourage you, if you like Right Side Broadcasting, subscribe to us on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell when you subscribe, and you can get notified about all of our videos right when they happen, like, for example, our live videos. Also, again, shouting out to the people watching on Facebook today. We're streaming to both. You can get notified about all of our videos. I was checking up on Facebook, and I got some of their audio for a second. And hello, I want to say a quick hello to people in some of the chat rooms. In Facebook, we have Daniel and Carol and Liz and Judy and Fred, and Lynn Goodwin is there. So hello, all of you watching on Facebook. And some of the regulars are in the YouTube chat as well. We have the moderators, JC Real Frank, Jacqueline O, CJT Tippy, Zach C. Swoosh, Stephanie Hamilton, Joshua Senior, Miss Tree. So great job, moderators, today, moderating the chat room. And I'll say one more time, if you do like our broadcasts, hope you consider donating. We got a couple donations today, which is great, but hope you consider donating to us, because we're viewer supported. We don't take big donations from companies that want to control what we say. We like being viewer supported because that lets us be independent, and but we need your support to stay on the air. So if you'd like to consider donating, go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate, or click the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat room. Or if you want to get free stuff in exchange for donating, you can go to our Patreon page, where we give free stuff away for setting up a monthly donation. That's www.patreon.com/RSBN. Patreon is Patreon. Oh, and please, if you're on Facebook, feel free to share our video. We love when you do that. Let people know about Right Side. And if you're on YouTube, like our video if you get a chance, because then YouTube will tell more people about our videos. Let's see here. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up in a second here. Let me just check and make sure we got into all our comments. Yeah, so and then just a heads up. So we have, in terms of upcoming events, President Trump is going away this weekend, but if there's breaking news this weekend, we'll come on and report it. And also, what was I going to say? Oh, June 20th, put it on your calendars. We're going to be covering the election, the special election in Georgia for Tom Price's House seat. It is now, I think, officially the most expensive House election ever contested, because there's all this money coming in from outside the state. So we're going to cover that. I'll be there with you, and I think that's going to be it right now. So appreciate you joining us. One last comment here from Kafeve Mama, and says the meaning of the comment depends on to whom President was speaking to. An enemy, then yes, he has tapes. A supporter, then no, he does not have tapes. Because if he were speaking to a supporter, he would be. If he said, "You're going to be disappointed that I don't have tapes," the supporter would be. If you're going to be disappointed, the supporter would be like, "Oh, I wanted you to have tapes." So yeah, it depends on who he was speaking to. I took him as speaking to people who wanted there to be. Well, so hold on. Kafafe Mama says if he was speaking to a supporter, then that suggests. All right. Anyways, there's all these different ways to interpret this, as we went over. We could talk about this for hours. Oh, George Hansen writes in, President Trump didn't need to say that he committed to Article 5 because we've been committed to it from day one. The dumbass was the one who put it in doubt. And I understand what George is saying, which is that it's not like every time a president speaks about NATO, they have to explicitly commit to Article 5. And so some people wanted President Trump to, but it's, I didn't take his speech when he gave the speech about NATO to be saying I'm not committed to Article 5, but some people did want it, so he did say it. Thank you, George, for writing in. And okay, we're going to wrap it up here. This has been Right Side Broadcasting's coverage of the press conference, joint press conference the president has given with the president of Romania. Thank you all for watching the broadcast. Special shout out. Oh, and what was I going to say? Shout out to everybody again on Facebook and YouTube. And Mary Hoffman gave $2 and said broadcasts are great. Thank you. You're welcome, Mary. Thank you so much for your donation. Thank you. And Amanda Maccabee says thank you in the broadcast in the chat room. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Jacqueline O. I don't know if Nick is on today. I don't know. I can actually I'll see if I can get this information very quickly for you. I'm texting right now one of my fellow RSBN people who will know this. And I'll see if I can get you an information. Barbara Braley, thank you, and thank you for your donation. Thank you, SB. Thank you, JC, for moderating. I'm just looking in the chat room there, thanking everybody who's saying thank you. And thanks to our usual, again, all of our viewers, our usual viewers who join us. And, RS Jude, Nick is on. Yes. So, So I have a word. Jude, the moderator, thank you, Jude, says that Nick is on, and I heard Jake is at the office now, so that's probably being set up. So Nick will start. Oh, this is so convenient. Nick is going to start in 10 minutes, I believe, because it's 4 o'clock Eastern when Nick comes on. So in 10 minutes, check out Nick Fuentes, America First with Nick Fuentes. Very cool. Thank you, Sarge from, I won't say your last word because it might offend some people, but Sarge says, thanks, great broadcast. Thank you, Sarge. Joshua Sr. says, one day RSBN will be a world leader in news. Thank you, Josh Sr. very much. Okay, everyone. I see you on Facebook. I see you on YouTube. I very much appreciate you watching. And 10 minutes from now, check out Nick Fuentes. Very smart man. He'll have some things to say. I know he'll have some things to say. Maybe he'll have some things to say about this press conference. So check him out. For me, that's it for me today. I'll see you if there's breaking news this weekend. And that's it. So from all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting, have a great rest of your Friday. I'll talk to you soon. And let me get the last screen up here. Oh, do I have it up here? There I do. Okay. Have a great one, everybody. Talk to you soon.